Just to remind ourselves why we're here this evening, we're going to hear now from Mr. Nasser Jaffrey, Chair of Culture Asia and organiser of this wonderful event. He's been involved in fundraising and been active in the community for a number of years. He's very well known in the Scottish Pakistani community, and his prolific work and fundraising with various community groups and charities, as well as his work with charitable initiatives and international relief efforts, has put him at the forefront of community causes. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Nasser Jaffrey.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to you all. 75th Independence Day of Pakistan. And then we witnessed the devastating floods that are still ongoing in Pakistan, and we thought we'll need to turn this round into a bit of a fundraiser at the same time. And then, as we all know, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth passed away. And we felt it was only appropriate that we postpone the event which was to take place on 11th of September. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's a bit of a bittersweet occasion for us all. Now, whilst I'm thanking everybody and my team at Culture Asia and all my volunteers, and I'm sure that we will all have a wonderful evening ahead, but let's reflect on for a couple of minutes on why we are here tonight. As Scottish Pakistanis, we make up the largest visible ethnic minority in Scotland. Since the 1950s, Scotland and Pakistan have been forging bonds after the arrival of the first Pakistani immigrants that chose Scotland to be their home. From spices to eateries, from culture to attire, the Pakistani community in Scotland slowly established local hubs of migrant activity within the Scottish towns and cities in which they had decided that was their home. The spirit of the Glaswegian, ladies and gentlemen, and the sense of community in the city was central to the development of the identity of the Scottish Pakistani, and still is to this day. And it is these foundations that are testament to the generation of Pakistanis that have contributed to the shaping of the city as we know it today. Ladies and gentlemen, the celebration tonight is a considerable landmark in the city's flourishing history of welcoming people from all over the world. People who have helped change the vibrancy and the dynamics with their own unique skills, ethics, culture, dedication to hard work. Along with our heritage and culture, we have made a wonderful contribution to this glorious city, and we have enriched and shaped communities. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are represented across businesses, politics, and society in general. We are also, like the Scots, we are people who are fiercely patriotic. Our values mirror those of the Scottish society: compassion, openness, diversity, tolerance, solidarity, and inclusion. We are proud to be Scottish. We are proud to be Scottish, to be Glaswegian, and indeed to be Pakistani. And we are the embodiment of those people before us, like some of them sitting here, who found us a home that we love and to which we belong. Along the way, ladies and gentlemen, generations have adopted many new customs, and we managed to combine these with elements of the root and heritage that will never be forgotten, whilst ensuring that we are Scottish through and through. So just like those generations of Scots and Irish that we see in America, Canada, Australia and where else, for example, being born and raised overseas, they still honour their roots and celebrate national days. And we too should celebrate our Pakistani heritage and our national or independence days to ensure that we never forget our roots, culture, heritage and many languages that we have. At the same time, however, it is very important, we must never ever forget our shared values and sense of collective identity that will help the city of Glasgow to continue to flourish. As the late Bashir Man, whom many of you personally knew, aptly titled his book, The New Scots. We are the new Scots. And it is important that we continue to contribute to the success, the development and betterment of Scotland. I know, ladies and gentlemen, you did a number of other speakers, so let me end by just quoting something from a verse from Robert Burns' poem. The Bard writes, it is very appropriate for the two countries that we are talking about, Scotland and Pakistan. The Bard writes, my dear, my native soil, for whom my warmest wish to heaven is sent, long may thy hardy sons of thrifty toil, long may the hardy sons of thrifty toil be blessed with health, peace, and sweet content. Ladies and gentlemen, have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
She will be presenting a short talk about the story of the South Asians in Scotland and their achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sagar.
Respected elders and esteemed guests, good evening and assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings upon you all. It is an honour to be asked to come and share a few words about the achievements and the contributions of the first generation of South Asians in Scotland, in particular the Pakistani community. At Cultural Heritage, we have the UK's largest online archive, which you've just seen some snippets of, which contains oral video stories of our South Asian elders from Scotland. The archive itself has given us incredible insight into what life was like when our forefathers and mothers came to Scotland, mainly as economic migrants. And in particular for the city of Glasgow, many of them came from the Punjab regions and from Punjab region within Pakistan and India. The Pakistani pioneers were highly organised, vocal and active in fundraising. They have greatly contributed to the tartan of Scotland through their civic and political participation, as well as entrepreneurship. They have and continue to enrich Scotland's culture and heritage, especially through their vibrant cuisine, businesses, and their religious buildings, religious institutions. So this year, 2022, is the year of stories. So let me take you back and tell you a little story of South Asian heritage in Scotland. Of course, on our timeline, we start in 1855, which is when Maharaja Dalip Singh came from Lahore and stayed in Castle Mingus in Aberfeldy in Scotland. But one of the first known names that came at the turn of the century that came to Scotland was somebody called Nalku Muhammad in 1916. And along with Mr. Dunda, they both managed to bring other friends and relatives that could come and stay and keep them company in Scotland from Punjab. So in the 1920s, the community worked as hawkers, street lamp-lighters. Many of them became peddlers, which you'll know in the early 30s, 40s and 50s, they were providing a service selling goods door to door, even though they were unable to speak English or even write English. And of course in the video you saw a black and white image which was of Tanda and Ashraf, which is one of the first warehouses owned by the South Asian community. And that was a picture from 1953. So the warehouse was there in the late 40s. The community stayed in large groups in one house, and they did this for safety and companionship. And they saved not only to feed themselves, but also to feed the family and to send money back home. So they helped the newcomers that had arrived with a kitty system until that person finally got a job and could help other newcomers. And this became the first steps to their social care training, which Uncle Rabani and I'm sure many others in the room will know all too well. So the early generation were very much holding values of brotherhood and comradeship as they faced the same challenges living in Scotland. They all came with a 5-year plan. Nobody was going to stay until their wives and children joined them in the late 50s onwards. Even then, not everyone called their families over. Some of them stayed in India and Pakistan. Many of them worked overtime in the jute mills of Dundee and in the trains and buses in Glasgow, working all hours as bus conductors and eventually, when they learned to drive, as bus drivers. Very hard work, long hours. But this daily interaction with people taught them social skills and, of course, the English language, which was essential for them to survive in this land, which was foreign to them, with a foreign culture. So this, of course, gave them the confidence to create their own jobs, open shops, warehouses, businesses, restaurants. They have and continue to actively contribute towards Scotland's GDP. Their children also valued the education opportunities, and many went on to university. Today, if you look around Glasgow, you can't imagine without the South Asian and Pakistani contribution from businesses, restaurants, shops, all sorts of institutions, through to being part of many other professions, including the police and the NHS. As Atta mentioned, our digital timeline on our website highlights many of these contributions, and it starts from 1855 till the present day. So many achievements, such as the late Bashir Mann, who from Glasgow became the first UK's publicly elected Muslim councillor in the 1970s. And if we fast forward 37 odd years or so, nearly 40 years, the UK's first Muslim MP was also from Glasgow, Muhammad Sarwar. We also have the late Yakin Wali, who opened Castle Cash and Carry in Europe in 1983, called Castle. He also donated £500,000 to the University of Strathclyde. And of course, we also have the late Uncle Shaheen Fulfil, who did a lot of charity work and a lot of work around Glasgow Central Mosque. And of course, his Carlton Street building was donated towards Glasgow Central Mosque that we have today. So these are no coincidences. Scotland's South Asian population is very small compared with that down south. Yet, our forefathers achieved heights in politics, business, and in other fields that you would expect only from cities where there was a larger population of the South Asian community, such as Manchester or London. But why is this? The reason behind this is because the Glasgow's South Asian and the Pakistani community were highly organised, and they had a better integration experience, meeting people through peddling as well as working in shops compared with their English counterparts that mainly worked in factories. So today I'd like to thank and congratulate the Culture Asia team for actually reorganising this event and bringing the community together to celebrate Pakistan's 75th anniversary. So, Pakistan Day celebrations with the civic leaders have been happening since the late 1950s, as you will see in an upcoming film shortly that Colourful Heritage has made. I would like to highlight a beautiful quote from a letter sent from Pakistan's High Commissioner Iftikhar Ali to the late Bashir Man in August 1963, in which he writes, "Glasgow is among the rare centres in this country where the Pakistani community are so united and live harmoniously." I'd like to finish off with a short prayer. May our lands, Scotland, Pakistan, India, be blessed, and the next generation continue to illuminate the Pakistani values of faith, unity, and discipline. Ameen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sackler. Just before we go on, and we've got a number of really important and prolific speakers this evening celebrating the 75 years of independence. Just want to say a big thank you to a number of the sponsors here as well. I know Chaiwala are here, and I spoke to the gentleman outside, and they've got some things in the foyer later on for people. And he's walking in, look at the timing of that. I know Cannes Autos have been instrumental in this, Culture Asia, Oceanic Media, and a number of others. I've all promised to try to get as many names in as possible, because without you all, nothing like this comes together. I would, unfortunately tonight, the Lord Provost was unable to join us, but representing the office of the Lord Provost this evening is Uncle Bailey Hanif Raja. Can I please welcome him to the stage?
First of all, on behalf of the Lord Provost and City of Glasgow, can I pay my thanks to Culture Asia and congratulate to Pakistan 75 Independence Day, which they are celebrating today. City of Glasgow and the Lord Provost has conveyed our best wishes, and I send the apologies that she can't be with you today, as she's got a commitment, and she has deputized herself to me to be with you and convey our best wishes. Where Pakistan is celebrating 75th Independence Day, there are a lot of things that are happening in Pakistan. 1/3 of Pakistan is underwater, which is very serious and alarming, not only for Pakistan, but for our world, to look and see where the rest of the world is going. So we need each one of us, not only Pakistanis, but wherever the people in the world, they should look and help those who have been affected. Brothers and sisters, they are not only Muslims, they are human beings. I can assure you, areas been affected, there's quite a lot of Hindus and Sikhs community, especially in Sindh province. So we look at each one of you to contribute not only in shape of money, but anything you can give or pressurize international community to help and assist. I also wish to inform you that Glasgow City Council has moved the motion along with the cross party, which I must thank my colleagues who are in the hall today as well, Green and SNP, to support that motion to help Pakistan areas which have been affected with the floods. So I'm sure the Glasgow City Council is going to look into this. Our staff has been allocated to come back how we can assist Pakistan with the flood affected areas. So Glasgow City Council, I'm sure they're going to come back with a package which we will be able to deliver to people who have been affected. I don't have a long speech to deliver to you, but I cannot wish Jaffrey brother and his team, especially Culture Asia, to organizing these wonderful events and gathering so many of you from all walk of life, which people are from all over Scotland. I see people from Edinburgh, Aberdeen, another part of Scotland. Thank you, Jafisa, for organizing this. And I've seen His Excellency, Consul General of Pakistan, is also present. And we can convey our congratulations to His Excellency for 75th anniversary, and also pay our condolence to people who have been affected, present with this climate and flood affected areas. But will you please convey our sympathies with the government and condolence from the Glasgow City Council and Lord Provost and myself. Thank you once again for allowing us to say a few words. God bless and God bless.
Thank you. Can I now ask to come on stage Baroness Nushina Mubarak, who will say a few words. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. It is a real pleasure to join you to celebrate 75 years of Pakistan's independence, one of the truly momentous events of the last century, when the iconic Mr. Jinnah, the Quaid-e-Azam, the great leader, led the way to achieve what was deemed the impossible. I believe such an event as today would not be complete without saying a few words about Muhammad Ali Jinnah, referred to as the ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity and committed to a united front against British imperialism. He reluctantly came to the conclusion that the only way forward was a separate state for the Muslims of India. And to that end, he worked single-minded, despite the fact that he was desperately ill. The pressure and stress certainly hastened his demise. He once said that it is not life that matters, but the courage, fortitude, and determination that you bring to it. To me, Jinnah was one of the most inspiring men of the 20th century. He was a man of great courage and discipline and perseverance, and a role model for the ages. The writer, Henry Victor Hodgson, who witnessed events of partition up close, said of Jinnah, "Not even his political enemies ever accused Jinnah of corruption or self-seeking. He could be bought by no one and at no price. Nor was he in the least degree a weathercock swinging in the wind of popularity or changing his politics to suit the chances of times. He was a steadfast idealist and a man of scrupulous honor." Ladies and gentlemen, whilst tonight was intended as a celebration, and it is also an opportunity to raise desperately needed funds for the victims of the recent devastating floods which have caused death and destruction in that land. We're all familiar with the statistics, but it is important to repeat them and keep repeating them in every forum, because comprehending the scale of this disaster is so difficult and has to be stressed over and over. 1,900 lives lost, more than 1 million homes damaged or destroyed, over 100 bridges and 3,000 kilometers of road destroyed, 900 health facilities wrecked, 10,000 schools lost, 2.2 million hectares of crops ruined, rice, cotton, sugarcane, both crops in the fields and in the stores destroyed. 800,000 livestock swept away, and 1.7 million fruit trees uprooted. More than 1 million homes damaged or completely destroyed, and countless businesses impacted. The estimated loss to the economy is $30 billion. It is a catastrophe in the true sense of that word. The scale is unimaginable. It is apocalyptic. Something you may imagine in some disaster movie, but sadly, it is a reality. And as Mr. Raja said, it is a sign of things to come for our planet. If we attribute this to climate change, and all indications show that that is what it is, whether induced by humans or whether it is a natural phenomenon, the likelihood is that such events will keep happening, and they will happen in many other parts of the world. There are currently around 10 countries that are extremely vulnerable to climate change, and the whole of South Asia is high on that list. The world has to be prepared to assist, considering that Pakistan is responsible for only 0.4% of carbon emissions, a negligible figure. The need is immediate for food, for clothing, shelter, medicines, mosquito nets, torches, and all basic necessities. This is what NGOs, larger charities, government, and individuals are focused on just now. Beyond the immediate, there is the next phase, which will be reconstruction and rebuilding of homes and infrastructure, hopefully more robust and designed to withstand such deluges of water. It requires proper planning and innovation. The requirement is on a colossal scale and will need the help of the international community. Finally, there is the replanting of the crops as the land settles and allows. But I have a huge concern of the impact of the flood on biodiversity, on the small insects, such as the bees that pollinate the crops. They too have been washed away. Ultimately, this may impact the quality and the yield of the food that is planted in the near future. We hope and pray for better times, but I know that we're all aware that this is a long-term situation. It will take years for Pakistan to recover from this, and the support required will be ongoing, and we will have to remain resolute in our efforts to help. That connection with Pakistan, in my case, the country of my birth, or for many here, the country where their parents and grandparents were born, that connection is strong. That first generation of people who came to the UK, people like my parents, my father, Chaudhry Kafel Shaheen, who worked so hard to maintain their Pakistani Muslim identity whilst also being hard-working, law-abiding and loyal citizens of this country. They set an example and they made sacrifices for future generations. The mammoth effort involved in the building of the Glasgow Central Mosque, the running of schools to teach Arabic and Urdu, and at a time when there weren't any grants as incentives, but everything was from their own contributions. They were driven by their beliefs and principles and desire to do the best for the next generation. Those principles which Muhammad Ali Jinnah upheld throughout his life in the service of his people were adopted by so many of that first generation that came to this country. Both my father and mother played a huge part in the cultural life of their community, and I am so proud of their achievements and the achievement of all those who worked with them side by side. And I congratulate all who continue, such as Nasser Jaffrey and others, and I see many from familiar faces around the room, who continue to try and make a difference to the well-being of their communities. Congratulations to you all. But today, as we celebrate the 75th anniversary of Pakistan's independence, we think of the enormity of the challenges which faces it just now. But Pakistan has always been a resilient country, and we pray that the people of Pakistan will come through this and with the spirit of resolution that embodied Jinnah. His legacy will surely live on and flourish and thrive in the fullness of time, inshallah.
Assistant Chief Constable Steve Johnson, who will now come to the stage. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Can I first say it's a real honour to have been invited to be able to join you for the 75th anniversary of the independence of Pakistan. I'm standing here sounding like the least Scottish person in the room, actually, which feels a bit odd. I was in good company. I didn't prepare a speech, but I thought what I would do with your forbearance is speak from my heart and speak from what my eyes have told me after 6 years of being in Scotland. And from my perspective as a senior police officer, I have the privilege to work for you all. I have the responsibility for policing the west of Scotland, so from Cumbernauld down to Dumfries and Galloway and right across to Tyree, around about 2.6 million population. And my observations in the 6 years that I've been in Scotland around the Pakistani community is it's exactly that. It's a community. It's something that I've said to a number of people in the room. It reminds me of the community that I belonged to back in the 60s when I was a kid in the Midlands. And it's something sadly that's been lost in big parts of the UK. But I see it here in Glasgow and I see it here in Scotland, that the Pakistani community is alive and well. But what it brings is that heritage. It's that link back to the heritage that you have. It brings a richness to all of the communities that have here in Scotland. So the identity is there in relation to the heritage, but it's truly a community that is assimilated into part of the community in Scotland. And I've heard that so much tonight that actually I think you're Scottish first, Pakistani second. Apologies, but that's how you take it. I think we should be very, very proud of that. I'm privileged to hold another bit of a title. I'm the exec sponsor for the Scottish Police Muslim Association, and I don't know whether any colleagues are still in the room. But what I would say, without this sounding like a recruitment pitch, is that's a very small number of officers in Scotland. And it would be remiss of me not to take the opportunity to say, and actually be a realist, the challenge that you and your forefathers and foremothers have faced has probably been against a backdrop of intolerance, of hatred, of challenges. And have they gone? Have they gone completely? The truth is no. But the organisation that I represent is one that wants to be inclusive. It wants to have members of all the communities that it serves, because we serve you. And if Sir Ian Livingston were here tonight, he would remind us of a Pelian principle that we are just citizens in uniform. We're sworn officers, and we're sworn to keep you alive, prevent crime, and detect crime, regardless of people's faith or origin. So we need people from your community, our community, to join the service. So that's the recruitment bit over. We are taking on recruits as we speak. But genuinely, a real privilege to be here. It's fantastic, the 75th anniversary. I'm sure the future is even brighter. And I'll bid you farewell in two ways. First is perhaps a traditional way from where I come from, and that is to wish you good health, good wealth, and good prosperity. But I also served for 8 years in the Royal Navy, and I know there's a Mariner in the room. So I wish you all fair winds and following seas. God bless.
Thank you, Steve. It's now with great pleasure that I would like to invite the leader of the Scottish Labour Party, Anna Surwer, to the stage.
And my thank you is first of all for Nasser Jaffrey. I call him Chachu, of course. He's a Chachu to me. He likes to pretend he's younger than that, but he's a Chachu to me. But I think it's a testament to Nasser's love for his community, his dedication to Pakistan, but also his relationships with Glasgow and Scotland's Pakistani community, that we have had the attendance today. So a sincere thank you to Nasser Jaffrey for this evening. And the second thank you actually is for Dr. Sakib, and I'll tell you why. I don't think we truly appreciate the great work that Dr. Sakib has done to track, record and credit our great history. We may not recognise the huge sacrifice and role, but trust me, our children and our grandchildren will. Because our children and our grandchildren will ask the question when they're older: how did our family move here? How did we set up base? How did we establish ourselves? And the answer will be available to them because of the incredible work that Dr. Sakib is doing. So sincerely, we're doing a huge service to our community. I want to say just a little bit about the floods, and then I'll say a few wider things about Scotland's Pakistani community. Firstly, on the floods, I won't repeat the statistics that you heard from Bailey and Raja and from Baroness Mubarak. But what I will say is, I know times are tough for us here in the UK and in Scotland. I know we are in the midst of the cost of living crisis. I know there are huge challenges in terms of the cost of running a business. I know huge challenges in terms of what's happening with our interest rates and therefore the knock-on effect on mortgages. But to put it into context, there are citizens in Pakistan who are currently making makeshift homes with tents on rafts because their homes have been destroyed. They're being forced to defecate as well as bath, drink and cook food from that very same flood water. For them, the luxuries that we enjoy and take for granted every single day is not available to them and their children. And yes, of course, charity begins at home, but charity doesn't end there. And we all have a moral duty, not just because of our love for Pakistan, but we have a moral duty because of our love for humanity to make sure that we are supporting our Pakistani brothers and sisters in this time of need. So I encourage you all, please, to support this fantastic appeal. And I again congratulate Culture Asia for organising the event. In terms of Scots, I listened very carefully to Nasser, and I also listened to the Assistant Chief Constable, and I think he's right when he said that we are Scots first and Pakistani second. I actually don't think we should refer to ourselves as New Scots anymore. After all these years and all these generations and after all our contributions, if we aren't just Scots by now, then I think there is a serious issue. And let's think about the role that Scotland's Pakistani community plays. Let's think about the pandemic as an example. If it wasn't for Scotland's Pakistani community and the UK's Pakistani community, we wouldn't have had a national health service that was able to treat and save lives. We wouldn't have had a vaccination team that has saved generations. We wouldn't have had the food distribution and food manufacturing companies across the country. We wouldn't have had those delivery drivers across the country. We wouldn't have had those transport workers across the country. Scotland and UK's Pakistani community literally kept this country going in our darkest and most difficult moments, and we should never forget. And that then brings me on to what I feel our role is going forward. And can I first of all say that some might think when they see Pakistanis in politics and see Pakistanis in different political parties in Scotland politics, that somehow that demonstrates a division in Pakistani communities. Actually, I think the opposite. I think it is a source of immense strength that we now have Pakistanis being represented in every mainstream political party in Scotland and across the UK. Because we will only truly get real power if we just have more Pakistanis sitting in council chambers and parliaments, but actually having more Pakistanis and South Asians sitting in the corridors of power making the decisions. And that's where I'll end tonight, is to say the change is coming. And the days where our South Asian community are viewed as a vote bank or a curry bank are well and truly gone. The days where South Asian communities get to lead political parties, and get to lead countries is now upon us. The days when South Asian communities get to decide not just which school our children go to, but what they are taught in those schools is also coming. The days when our South Asian communities get to decide not just what shifts they do in our National Health Service, but actually how we operate and run and rebuild our National Health Service is coming. And the days where our South Asian community don't talk about the statistics of how many of them live in poverty, but actually get to work together to eradicate poverty is well coming. That's the mission of Scotland's Pakistani community and the UK's Pakistani community. That's the Scots that we truly are, and inshallah we'll go on that journey together.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next speaker, Adam Gesser, MP for Airdrie and Shorts. Could you please join me on the stage? Thank you, Adam.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for inviting me along today. Thank you for Atta for being such a gracious host tonight. Thank you. Has been fantastic. We've heard from some fantastic speakers. The politicians, I'm not going to give you any credit, but Dr. Sakib, your speech was fantastic, and I don't know about any of you, but I certainly learned a lot. I'm delighted to be here today to celebrate Pakistan's independence. So my name is Adam Gesser, and I am the Member of Parliament for Airdrie and Shorts. In Parliament, I'm currently the only Scottish Pakistani MP. So I use my role to champion my constituents in Airdrie and Shorts, but also the wider Pakistani community in Scotland. The recent floods have devastated Pakistan, and this climate emergency has been exacerbated by climate change, and we know that Pakistan is paying the price for a climate emergency that has been caused by other countries, and this is frankly unacceptable. And that's why in August I, along with my colleagues, wrote to then Foreign Secretary and now Prime Minister Liz Truss demanding help for Pakistan. And this is bigger than party politics. It's not about SNP, Labour, Tory. And I also wrote to the SNP First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, urging her to do more for Pakistan as well. So I tonight give you my commitment that I may only be the only Pakistani MP in Scotland, but I will continue to champion Pakistan and champion giving help to Pakistan in her recovery after the floods. And I know that times are tough, and I know that we're in a cost of living crisis, but where possible, there's some fantastic charities. Please do donate where you can. So I'm delighted to be here tonight, and I am so proud to be a Scottish Pakistani Muslim. But the reality is that when I attend events like this, I'm normally, if not only, the only elected Pakistani woman in the room. And you know what? I'm sick and tired of it. So my message to you today is support our Scottish Pakistani women. There is no reason why we cannot flourish in different fields, whether that's politics, business, the police, education, or any other field. And of course, it is, in the words of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, our founder, no nation can rise to the height of glory unless women are side by side with you. So over the last few years, we've had Brexit, COVID, and politics is quiet again. There's not much happening. Since the money budget on Friday from the new Tory Chancellor, the pound dropped to a record low. The IMF intervened to to say that the Tory government should reevaluate their policies, and the Bank of England have had to spend billions of pounds to prop up the markets. Yet for 4 days, the Prime Minister was missing in action. So, my party and SNP and other political parties have demanded an urgent recall of Parliament. It is nothing short of a scandal that MPs are not in the House of Commons debating and voting on policies that will help you and people across all 4 nations pay their bills. So I'm going to say to you today, please also get angry about that. Contact your councillors, your MSPs and your MPs. Some of them are in this room right now. Make your voices heard. And finally, thank you so much to Nasser Jaffrey and the team at Culture Asia. Events like this are so important because it gives us an opportunity to come together and celebrate and meet each other after a couple of years that has been very, very difficult. So thank you once again for organising such a fantastic event, and to your team as well. Thank you.
Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we've got one more speaker. Could you please now welcome to the stage Consul General Said Zahid Raza.
Distinguished guest, MP and Professor Carlos Machina, MSP and leader Scottish Labour on a server. I can see a few councillors here, Zantani, Makhloud, Saqib, and whom did I see? Imran Alam as well. So, and ladies and gentlemen and distinguished, especially Nasser Jaffrey and all people, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Coming at the last moment, होता यह है कि मुझसे पहले जिन्होंने बोल लिया है वो सारा कुछ वो बोल चुके हैं जो मैंने कहना था. And now I have to see what is left for me. Like I was thinking to quote figures from flood. Baroness has already quoted that. I was thinking to say that we should join police force. Police chiefs have already said so. Joining the policy corridor and power corridors, that has been quoted by others, and encouraging our female colleagues to join politics and other sectors, that has been quoted by Anna. So I have to find something else to speak. Since 14th of August, it might be at least 10th or 11th such celebration that I am attending. And I'm really proud of this fact that our community here in Glasgow that has been so motivated, active and connected with Pakistan, that every kind of organization, whether it's a cultural organization, social or political, they are ready to arrange some program where they can show their love to Pakistan. And I'm thankful to all those Pakistanis who arranged those programs, motivated the Pakistani community here, bring our new generation to these programs and inform them about how did we achieve that independence in 1947. Since last 75 years, we have come a very long way forward. Many of you might be having an observation that perhaps Pakistan has not achieved what it should have achieved. There have been hiccups, there have been issues, many might be self-inflicted, but somehow, as it was mentioned earlier, we had been a very resilient nation, despite all odds, despite wars, despite having issues at Pakistan, despite natural calamities. And we have come more stronger, more resilient towards these issues. And thanks to our Pakistani nation back in Pakistan, and especially supported by our Pakistani diaspora abroad, that has always come forward with more strength, more vigor, more valor to support our Pakistani people back in Pakistan in all sort of oddities that they are facing, especially such we see now as the recent floods. Although there have been so many organizations working here, so many programs of fundraisers being carried on, still going on. This is a great help that our Pakistani diaspora has been contributing towards our people who are victims of flood. Many of these natural calamities are not our doing. We are 7th most vulnerable country in the world with regard to the climate and environmental issues. That shows the necessity that we should build our structure, we should make new policy changes, we should bring an out-of-box solution to support ourselves, to save ourselves from any such disasters in future. But such programs where I am right now and having the opportunity to speak to you, I will emphasize that whosoever, whatsoever can they do to support our people back in Pakistan, that will go a long way, not only for their own sawab, but also for the generations to come. Obviously, jaza, it's all rest with Allah, and that He will support. Definitely we will be rewarding you in hereafter. I am thankful to Culture Asia for arranging this program. That's a wonderful gathering that I can see. I can see many new faces which I am not aware of, but definitely would love to interact with them. It's a very passionate gathering that I can see. But I'm looking forward for more such interaction, and as a government representative, I can assure that Pakistan Consulate in Glasgow will be more than happy to assist our community here. We are always open to criticism, to suggestions, and if you believe that we can do more, we will be more than happy to do that. I once again thank Culture Asia and your team and all the audience that has come over here and celebrating this 75-year anniversary of Pakistan with all of us. May Allah bless you all, and thank you very much again. Amen.
We're going to take this moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're not doing awards this evening, but we're going to recognise the services of one special individual who for 6 decades has selflessly given so much to the Scottish, Glaswegian, Asian community. Now, we are recognising an individual who has been an internal part of Glasgow Central Mosque, has set up inter-race relations with other religious communities, worked tirelessly to fund ways for relief in Pakistan over the last 50 years, and been a liaison between dignitaries coming from Pakistan, including people from government, artists, etc. as well. The list goes on in respect to the amount of work he's done in Scotland and also in Glasgow. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the award of services to the community to Mr. Malik Ghulam Rubani MP.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could kindly allow me, I can explain and say a few words in Urdu. Although I know English very well, I passed my primary 4th from Glasgow school, so my English is quite good. मुझे इंतहाई खुशी महसूस हो रही है कि आज पाकिस्तान डे मना रहे हैं जाफरी ब्रदर्स एंड टीम। ये काम हम 60 से शुरू था और फिर अब कुछ अर्सा 70s के बाद 80s के बाद सारी 90s फिर थोड़ा सा स्टॉप हो गया, लेकिन अल्लाह ताला ने इनको हिम्मत दी करे। थोड़ा सा फ्लड के मुतालिक मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ। पिछली दफ़ा जब फ्लड आया था, ग्लासगो की कम्युनिटी ने 8 करोड़ पाकिस्तानी रुपया सेंट्रल मास में जमा किया और मुझे एज ए वाइस प्रेसिडेंट और 3 और 4 साथी मेरे, उनको कहा कि ये पाकिस्तान में जाकर आपने खुद डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है अफगान महाजरीन में भी और आल्सो वहाँ जहाँ फ्लड आ गया। तो अब पाकिस्तान का जो थोड़ा सा मैं बयान करना चाह रहा हूँ, मैं इसलिए इंग्लिश में नहीं बोल रहा हूँ ताकि मेरे मुल्क की कोई बदनामी न हो। जब हमने कोशिश की कि किस तरीके से पहुँचे, तो तमाम ज़राए बिल्कुल बंद हो गए और उन्होंने कहा कि जी आप आगे नहीं जा सकते, ख़ुद पैसा नहीं दे सकते, किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को दे दें, वो आगे दे देंगे। अब मुझे यहाँ अल्लाह ताला जन्नत नसीब करे, शाहीद साहब प्रेसिडेंट थे और बशीर मान साहब, इन्होंने, मैंने जब वहाँ से फ़ोन किया तो उन्होंने कहा कि पैसे वापस ले आओ, लेकिन किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को नहीं देना है, कि आप खुद वहाँ काम करो। तो मैंने वहाँ 6 महीने, मेरे साथ 4 और साथी थे सेंट्रल मस्जिद के, और सरवर साहब और नासिर जाफरी ये भी आए। तो हमने एक मुल्तान में जगह सेलेक्ट की जो कि गाँव पूरा जा चुका था, और हमने चूँकि मिलिट्री को इन्वॉल्व किया, जो घर 2 बेडरूम का में अटैच बाथरूम 4.5 लाख रुपए में बन रहा था उस वक्त। रेंजर्स वालों ने हमें वही मकान 2 लाख में बना कर दिया, क्योंकि उनके पास जो आर्मी थी वो उसकी कास्ट नहीं थी, मजदूरी की। तो मैंने 6 महीने वहाँ रहकर, एक जगह थी जिसका नाम था गरीबाबाद, अब उसका नाम है अमीराबाद ग्लासगो। तो ग्लासगो का नाम वहाँ जगह भी शुरू हुआ, और ग्लासगो ने हमेशा दिल खोल कर जगह दिया। और मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि नर्जिस फाउंडेशन नासिर जाफरी ने बनाई है, और इनकी टीम का ही एक मेंबर जो उस वक्त भी हमारे साथ काम कर रहा था, जिसका नाम है मोहम्मद सलीम इकबाल, जो कि शाहजहां रेस्टोरेंट मैरिज हॉल मुल्तान के मालिक हैं। वेरी हार्ड वर्कर, वेरी ऑनेस्ट, और जितनी मदद उसने हमारी की कि हम 6 महीने वहाँ रहे, हमें खाना उसने दिया अपने रेस्टोरेंटों से, और आल्सो हमारी अकोमोडेशन उसके ज़िम्मा थी। हमने अपनी पॉकेट से भी खर्च किया जो कुछ हम कर सकते थे। तो आज भी मैं चूँकि ज़्यादा नहीं बोलना चाह रहा था, आप तमाम हज़रात का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, स्पेशली कल्चरल एशिया का, कि जो काम हमने आज से 10-15 साल पहले छोड़ दिया था, आपने शुरू किया। अल्लाह करे कि आप ये इसको कंटिन्यू रखें। तो आखिर में ये एक और का यहाँ अल मुस्तफ़ा ट्रस्ट वाले कोई 3 हफ्ते पहले आए थे, वो भी वहाँ काम कर रहे हैं। तो मैं घर से निकलने लगा वहाँ फंक्शन के लिए, तो मेरी इकलौती बीवी यहाँ बैठी हैं, मुझे कहने लगी कि ये 500 पाउंड मेरी तरफ से लेते जाओ। तो मैंने कहा कि मैं वहाँ दे रहा हूँ। कहती वो आप अपनी तरफ से दे रहे हैं, तुमने अपनी कब्र में जाना है, मैंने अपनी कब्र में जाना है, इसलिए ये 500 मेरी तरफ से मैंने बच्चों के खाने से बचा के रखा है। तो ये फ्लड वालों के से जाए, तो मैं आज भी 1000 पाउंड 500 अपनी तरफ से और 500 अपनी बेगम की तरफ से अनाउंस करता हूँ। बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत शुक्रिया। Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a massive round of applause please for Mr. Glasgow. To tell us more about this, I'd like to welcome the Charities Director, Mr. Colin Grant, to the stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 25 years ago, I had the pleasure of attending a dinner in Glasgow to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the founding of the State of Pakistan. I was a guest of my good friend Chaudhry Tufail Shaheen, MBE. Shaheen, as he was known to everyone, as you know, was the prime mover behind the construction, one of the prime movers behind the construction of Glasgow Central Mosque. After it opened, he was its first president, and when he retired from that post, he became honorary life president. Sadly, he is no longer with us. However, I'm delighted to say that his daughter, Baroness Mubarak, CBE, is here tonight, and she spoke, and I'm delighted to say that she spoke with great eloquence about the foundation of Pakistan and the problems that the country is currently facing. During the intervening 25 years, I have been fortunate to have made many great friends within this community. And one of them is Nasser Jaffrey, who has worked very hard to make tonight's event the great success that it is. Over the years, Nasser has worked very hard to support many charities and was instrumental in helping the victims of the earthquake which affected Pakistan in 2005 and the floods of 2010. Some months ago, I accepted his invitation to become a director of the Organised Foundation, and I want to tell you briefly about the work of that charity. Nargis was Nasser's wee sister. She was the youngest in the Jaffrey family. She had 5 older brothers and an older sister. And being the youngest, she was the most precious. When she got married, there were great celebrations. And there was even greater joy when her beautiful daughter Zara was born. However, months later, Nargis was diagnosed with incurable cancer and passed away. It was a terrible tragedy. And those of you who have had the misfortune to have lost a loved one in circumstances like this will know that the grief never goes away. It stays with you every day of your life. Everybody reacts differently to a devastating event like Nargis's death. Nasser, to his credit, decided that something positive and good should come about as the result of the loss of his sister. So he created the Nargis Foundation in her memory. The foundation helps provide support to our local communities. Among the issues we can help with are mental health and well-being, welfare rights, poverty and hunger, unemployment, cultural alienation, isolation, inclusion, diversity, equality, and climate awareness. Originally, we had planned to raise money tonight for cancer research in Scotland. However, after witnessing the terrible loss and destruction brought about by the flooding in Pakistan, we now aim to raise as much as possible to help the victims. Could I ask you please to dig deep and make a generous donation to those people, most of whom, as you saw from that harrowing film a few minutes ago, have lost everything. I can assure you that 100% of the funds raised here tonight will go to help them recover. There will be no admin charges or any other deductions. And if there are any projects in this country you would like us to help with, then please don't hesitate to speak to me tonight. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me.
and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Adarsh Khuda from Scottish Asian Ekta Group for the Single Woman. And today I'm feeling honored to present a £2,000 check to this organization.
Our team donated a number of thousands of pounds collected by the Ekta Group for the 2005 earthquake in Pakistan.
And now while I was standing here, my group ladies are here. So one gave another £100, another lady gave another £200. Thank you very much for my group. You know, when I saw this program on the telly, my heart bleeds. And now I saw it on the screen, and the ladies was crying their heart out on my table. So sad to see people suffering. When I talked to my group, how people are suffering in Pakistan, and they said, better we should do something about it. So these are the pillars who collected all this money, all of them. We couldn't bring all the ladies, but they are single women, and they're doing a great job for the humanity, no matter what color, creed, or religion. They all come first in any need. Thank you very much, all of you, and wishing you the happy 75th Independence Day as well. And I'm thanking to Nasser Jafri, who is doing a great job. God bless him, and he's doing for the community. And the big round of applause to Mr. Jafri. Mr. Jafri family, I know from last 50 years, when they was a little boys. I got old, but they got younger and grown up. So anyway, I'm thanking you to have a nice time, and I'm feeling very honored to standing here. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
मदीना से इतना जरूर कह देना कि एक जख्मी तीरे निगह नजर जो बड़ा तड़प तड़प के वो कहता था या रसूल अल्लाह तो गया हूँ जानी में बदहा नजर जमाए हुए और ये कह रहा हूँ तसव्वुर में हाथ उठाए हुए क्या किस्मत में मेरी चैन से जीना लिख दे डूबे न कभी मेरा सफीना लिख दे मदीना लिख Ya Mustafa, ya Mustafa. साल के करीब महीने पहुंच गए जितने में आशिकों के सफीने पहुंच गए प्यासे थे एक साल के पीने पहुंच गए भटके हुए करूँ मदीने पहुंच Oh